Oh, sorry, I can't cast game number 2. A little bit unfortunate, but we're about to jump into game number 3. Very sorry. See, look, I mean, here's game number 3 just here. Look at that. Oh, we're in. Okay, welcome back, everyone, to game number 3 for the Australian Open, the Division B. We're spectating Chirpas versus Memento Mori. They're chilling down in Group 3, and we're spectating their round 1 games. And Chirpas telling us to wait, hold on. Are Goths banned? Why would Goths be banned? I'm a little bit confused as to why Goths would be banned. What I'm not confused about is that this is Chirpas's home map. This is Chirpus's home map, and what we are seeing is that he has chosen my favorite map, Arabia, and interestingly enough, he's actually chosen the Goth. I'm not sure why he was asking if Goths were banned. I don't believe there are any civilizations banned. This was a hidden civilization pick, and it is Chirpus's home map. And in saying that, we're already on his point of view, so why not have a look at the man himself playing to the northern area. Northern edge of the map is Chirpus in the blue, and he is playing as the Goths. His opponent trailing so far in a 2-0. Holy shit. Trailing 2-0 is Memento playing in the red, and he has chosen the Huns. A very typical Arabia civilization are the Huns. Unfortunately, the later this game goes, the more shit he is going to find himself in. And let's just have a look at his map to see what we can see from that as well. Well, out on the front of his map, you can see that he has 2 of his golds. Which is really nasty for him. Not to mention that one of his golds is actually sitting on a bit of a hill, which means any aggression coming in from his opponent, nice, juicy attack bonus downhill, pushing into the gold miners here of Memento. What else has he got? Well, in terms of wood, he has no backwood. He's had to go for a front wood, and I don't particularly enjoy that lumber camp, but that's just being a little bit picky. No, we are not using the captain's mode system from what I can tell. I believe it is just using the hidden civilization pick mod, or setting option rather, in the Voobly game room. So he's gone ahead, Memento has, and he's gone to the front wood to take that. What else has he got? Well, he's got stone out to the front of his base. Again, stone, Huns, not so important, to be completely honest. And he's got another stone as well as his berries out to the sort of western edge of his map. Can he wall his map? Well, yeah, I suppose the answer is he can. If he wants to go for some vast, elaborate walling, he can chuck some palisades off across there. He can palisade across this front here. He can palisade there. He can palisade there, and he can palisade there, and he can palisade there, and he's going to have a huge area under his control. Unfortunately, that is an elaborate wall, and I feel like that is not something he will be going ahead and doing. But what about the unorthodox Goth player, the Goth civilization pick here, Chirpas? Well, let's have a look at his map, shall we? Where the hell is his main gold? Well, his main gold is sitting, I say pretty because it's at the back of his base, but it is on a lot of undulating hills, which is again a little bit nasty for him. Any archers, which we are inevitably going to be seeing from the Hunnic player pushing in there. Lovely attack bonus for him. Stone out on the front of his map, and stone for the Goths, very, very important, at least to get only one castle up, such that you can start pumping out Huskarls from your barracks. One secondary gold well out on the front of his base, on the other side of one of his wood lines. Another stone a little bit in a better location, nicely tucked away towards the back of his base. And where is his other gold? His last gold well out on the front of his base. And I saw Pyrosaurus Rex having a little bit of is it a PogChamp here? It was a PogChamp moment, and I will go through why that is right now. His map is just fantastic for walling. All he has to do, chuck some walls up across here, mate. You are fine. Plug this little choke point here with a house or some buildings. You are fine. Wall across here, and the wood line here is doing the rest of the job for you. Go Drush. Go Fast Castle. You can try. Yeah, I don't doubt that the Goths definitely have the late game advantage in this matchup. All they have to do is just get out Huskarls, and it's pretty much GG from there. Especially if you're playing the Huns. Obviously, cavalry archers not really going to be a viable strategy for the Huns. If you're going up against the Goths, you can try and switch into Pala if you want to try and counter the Huskarls, but then the Goths can just get their super cheap infantry and the super cheap infantry and their spam going hard out, and it's going to be so difficult for them to for the Huns to be able to counter that. So what we should be looking for here then is that Memento Mori is going to want to close this out and win it really, really quickly and really, really early in the game. Fuel Age, maybe, hopefully we're probably going to be seeing a lot of aggression from him because, like I said, the later this game goes, the worse and worse he's going to get. Now, we did see an initial 4 villages over onto wood, which made me suspect that maybe the Goth player Chirp here was going to go for a... Oh, look, a barracks. Maybe he was going to be going for a drush, but then again, he has started to oversaturate the crap out of this wood line, and it's making me a little bit sick looking at it, so I'm going to look away for the time being. We do see a barracks coming up, and we know that Chirp can... oh, wait, no, we don't know that Chirp can drush, because it wasn't him that drushed on Baltic. It was Memento that drushed on Baltic. Obviously, the Huns can do quite a nice drush or man-at-arms build as well. But for the time being, it looks like Chirp is going to be going for... Is he going to go for Drush, or is he going to go Man-at-Arms? Well, he doesn't have anywhere near the amount of resource that he needs to do anything, and that's owing to the fact that he did have a bit of idle time on his TC. He also didn't manage to find a couple of his sheep until very late. And in fact, is he still missing 2 of his sheep? Well, yes, he is, out on the front of his base. We can see Memento, on the other hand, having clicked up to the Feudal Age, going up on 22 population. He will be there in a nice amount of time too, as a barracks comes popping up for him at the front of his base. I would have preferred to see it here, since that would have plugged up that hole in his hole between the 2 woods. But I suppose this is I suppose it's okay for the time being as well. We can see Memento doing cardinal sin, sending out some weak villagers heading over here to take these deer, especially when you're playing an infantry civ, or a civ that likes to drush or go man-at-arms, for example, like the Goths, going ahead and taking deer well out towards the front of your base with weakened villagers is a very, very risky maneuver to take. Now, what can we see? What can we expect to see from Memento here? Well, we can expect to see scouts. His build order is, yay. I mean, I'm all about the build orders, and I'm not really digging his build order for the time being. Chirps, I'm not really sure what he is up to either, but of course he does have the Civ advantage, so I guess he doesn't really have to worry too much. All he has to do is just make himself safe enough to get to the castle age, grab himself a castle, and of course with these walls that are coming in, he should be totally fine to do that. Moving 2 villagers out to gold is Chirp. Will he be going for man-at-arms? Nope, because he's sending another villager out there as well. Look to the corner. Which corner am I looking to, good sir? I have no idea which corner. There are many corners. I don't know if you're talking about that one, if you're talking about this one, or even this one. Are you looking for a bird? I'm completely unsure, but if we go back and see what's going on back at Memento's base, he's grabbing double bitax. He's chucking down a stable. Only 1 villager, not so bad. There's 2 blue dots on the map. These 2 blue dots here, that's a scout, and that's a villager. Okay. This villager is gonna be going underneath the town center of Memento and not really doing anything too much either. What else can we see? Well, we can see that there are no scouts coming out so far because I'm not actually on the correct point of view. We can see 3 scouts coming out to... Alright, well, I wonder what the hell is Chirp actually doing with this villager here. Is he going to be going for a trush, or is he going to be going for a forward? He has not moved out. He's moved out to gold. Is he going to be placing down an archery range? He's advancing to the feudal age now very, very late. He's gone up on 28 villages, which is very indicative of a fast castle build. But even then, that's a lot of villages to go up on a fast castle. Scouts now coming out as well for Memento, and he needs to start heading across the map and doing the damage to his opponent. He needs to stop kind of worrying about what's going on inside of his base, although I suppose if he does have a villager he does have a villager here. Oh, woo, woo, woo. Can we get some T90 woos in the chat? Let's make T90 proud, ladies and gentlemen. And the scout cavalry there from Memento managing to pick off Chirp's scout nice and easy. And this is going to be interesting to see as well. Memento hasn't actually scouted down this area of the map. He is sending a couple of spearmen there as he moves out with his initial scout cavalry, as opposed to as well as an extra 3. Chirp, recognizing the situation, knowing that his opponent is going scouts and micro-walling in his gold. He doesn't have to worry about micro-walling in his wood because it's more or less safe for the time being, although I suppose the scouts can still come around here towards the front of his base and get that going as well. Now, what damage can these scouts do? Like I keep saying, like I keep reiterating, the later this game goes, the worse position Hunnic player Memento is going to be in, and we're gonna do what T90 does. We're gonna hotkey that villager there as well. We're gonna control group here just so we can see what is actually going on down with this young lady. Now, what else can we see going on for Chirp? Well, hopefully we're going to see some, yeah, okay, we're going to see micro-walling in the wood villages, and straight away these scouts are completely and utterly worthless. A blacksmith coming up. Anything happening with you? No, you're still chilling, that's fine. A blacksmith coming up for Chirp. He does not have the resources to go Castle Age at the moment, and the scouts are actually into the wood line here of Chirp, managing to get a villager pick. So my initial guess of these scouts being completely worthless was obviously wrong. Getting a villager pick there, really, really nice for him. Starting to pull his villager. I suppose it's only one villager at the time, or for the time being. Unfortunately, the continued addition of scouts here from Memento is a complete and utter wrong decision, in my opinion, as he realizes, or he should recognize from now, that he can't really do any eco damage to his opponent since he's micro-walled in his gold, and he is now micro-walled in his wood as well. So continued production of scouts is just going to delay his Castle Age time, which is not what he wants to be, not the position that he wants to be in for the time being. Let's go down, see what she's doing. She's doing absolutely nothing, but we can see a market being thrown up in the economy here for our Goth player Chirp. Maybe he'll be doing some market magic to be able to get himself up to the Castle Age, but for the time being, he's sitting nice and pretty behind all of his walls. And the Hunnic player Memento throwing up an archery range back at home. Now, of course, some archers getting into this gold mine here, or just hitting over the walls, would be fantastically efficient and effective for the Hun player. Unfortunately, his archer transition is somewhat delayed, not as quick as I would have liked to see, and he hasn't actually moved over. Oh, he has moved over. He's gone to take gold in the. He's gone to take one of his secondary golds, one of his extra golds, down to the eastern corner of the map. And this is the same thing that you have to worry about. These spearmen for the Goths are just so cheap. It doesn't really matter if you have to use 2, 3, or 4 of them to scare away a couple of scouts. They're still going to be in a cost-effective trade and a cost-effective unit composition. Another archery range now being thrown up from Memento as well. Switching over to his point of view, do we see any archers? Well, no, we see no archers being queued up, but he has almost got the resources to click up to the Castle Age, and maybe he recognizes, or maybe he suspects that his opponent, maybe he thinks, Chirp, it's not really making any army. Maybe I should be getting up to the Castle Age as soon as I can, because it seems like he might be going for some sort of pseudo-fast castle build as well. So his resources are looking really, really nice, especially off the back of this, of all these farms that he's seeded to keep his scouts coming out. That's not an archery range, that's a blacksmith. I lied. I'm very, very sorry. But he's up to the Castle Age now before his opponent, and here we go. This is what we didn't really want to see. If you're the Hun player, this is not what you want to see. You don't want to see your Goth opponent heading over to Stone, because A, that's going to mean towers, which means that you should just GG and resign right there, because trushing is for dickheads. But it also could mean that he wants to get up a castle, and he wants to be going for those all-important, all-powerful Huskars, and Chirp actually going for man-at-arms now as well. Okay, fair enough. I mean, maybe he's going to go for a huge man-at-arms rush into the base here of Chirp, but I don't, not Chirp, sorry, of Memento. But if Memento gets up enough of a mass of cavalry archers, which is not very difficult as the Huns at all, owing to the fact that they are just so cheap, then man-at-arms not really going to be too much, not going to prove to be too much of a threat for our red player Memento for the time being, though. Fletching coming in for him, telling us that, yep, he's looking like he does definitely want to go down that cavalry archer route, and I don't think he should be putting down any more archery ranges than this. I think he should stick at 3 archery ranges for the time being, and see how he can keep the military production coming out after that. Scale mail armor coming in for +1 defense on the infantry units here for our blue Gothic player Chirp, and he is just sitting pretty behind his walls, sitting pretty back at home, and he'll be in the Castle Age in a matter of moments as well. So we're expecting to see cavalry archers coming out from the Hun player. And it's going to come down to really how much damage can he do to his opponent before his opponent gets enough stone to be able to throw down a castle. Because once the castle comes up, then it's going to make it exponentially more difficult for Memento Mori to be able to pull this game back. And 350 stone has already been mined, or has already been safely put away for the Goth player here. And we can see a barracks coming up in the back of the map, and I feel like this is something that Chirp has been planning for a while. Maybe, I don't know, long swordsman and forging coming in as well, and it's going to be really, really devastating for the Hun player if he doesn't scout this out in time. What is with that lone vil? Well, my friend, that lone vil down here is going to start, but he's buying stone. Jesus Christ, he's going to start building long swordsmen and just sending them in to the economy of his opponent here. These spearmen going to do absolutely jack shit to the into the long swords in a really, really nice castle position here. A really nice castle position here as well for Chirp as he builds it on this hill, which is always going to be pivotal, always going to be very in a very important location of his economy to lock down. Obviously, he's completely walled off on the right-hand side. He's completely walled off at the front, and now he's completely safe, at least to the extent that these cavalry archers are going to want to run through into the economy of Chirpus. He's going to be nice, completely safe on the on this left-hand side of his economy as well. What can we see? Well, we can see where those Cav archers go. There they are. The Cav archers now pushing out. We don't see any bloodlines. We don't see any archer armor. We also don't see any bloodlines done for these guys just yet. What we do see is we see man-at-arms. I thought Chirp was researching longswords. Why do I not see longswords coming in here? Maybe he cancelled the upgrade and able to in order to get more men-at-arms. I'm not really sure what's cracking back there for old Chirp, but what I am sure about is that 3 Cav archers have just been lost for absolutely nothing. To the castle of Chirpas for Memento Mori, and he's going to be in a really, really bad position now, since he cannot actually get in to do any eco damage to his opponent Chirp, making a very, very wise play, pulling his wood cutting villages rather, off the line from the front of his base, and going to take safer wood, safer pastures in the back of his base. There we go. Longsword's now coming in for Chirp as well. And this is going to be really interesting to see how well this does indeed play out. Obviously, the Goths still getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper inventory. It's going to be... I don't know if it's going to work. I mean, I feel like it's going to cause a lot of disruption, and maybe... I mean, okay, let's have a look at how well Memento is actually bringing out Cav Arch. He's bringing out a fair amount of Cav Arch, but they are missing a few crucial upgrades, which means these long swords, which are now starting to push in. I'd like to see chainmail armor coming in on these guys as well, such that maybe they could start taking down town centers. That could be fantastic. Or really, really fun to see. But at the same time, Memento is somewhat safe. His wood a little bit exposed, but his gold at the back of his base is going to put him in a really nice position as well. Chirpus has won with that castle. Yeah, I mean, he just needs to start bringing out Huskarls, and then it is pretty much GG. But at the same time, if Memento wanted to go really aggressive, bring a forward siege workshop and start punching holes inside of his economy, then it would be a really start punching his way into Chirpus' economy, then that could be really strong as well. He is missing quite a few upgrades, unfortunately, on this Cav Arch. For example, Bodkin Arrow, which is really, really big, in my opinion. Then, for example, the only way now, really, that Memento can win is if he goes full out and goes really aggressive, and he really needs to start putting the pressure on his opponent. Sure, this area of his economy, for the time being, of Chirpus' economy, is locked down, but if he can do enough damage to the wood, the stone, the farms, for example, of Chirp, then that would put him in a really good spot to be able to start taking this game, or maybe taking this game. But in saying that, we can see a third town centre now coming up on the stone and wood out to the northwest or northeastern area of pardon me, of Memento's base, with an extra or a second town centre being thrown up for Chirp as well. And I don't deny that Chirp is in a fantastic position for the time being, although he is quite a few villages behind, owing to the fact that he was 1 town centre behind his opponent just before as well, and that was actually a pretty bad fight that he took just now against the Cav archers of his Hunnic opponent. Now, there is no point these Cav archers just buzzing around on this area, or this side of the economy here from Chirpus, because Memento already knows, hey, he's pretty much walled. Why not get up here and start attacking down this palisade wall? And this is what we were all kind of expecting, all waiting for. Anarchy now coming in for Chirp as well. Huskarls, I believe, are going to be able to start being created from the barracks very, very soon. A couple of barracks being thrown down already in the corner. Chuck down, I don't know, 1 or 2 extra barracks, spam Huskarls into your opponent's base, and it is well and truly GG from that stage. I think another mistake that Memento hasn't actually made is he hasn't continued to scout and think, hey, where the heck did these guys actually come from? Where did those long swords actually come into my economy from? He is taking my advice, though. He is starting to punch his way into the economy economy here of Chirp by way of taking down this palisade wall. He's not taking my advice in terms of getting any other upgrades, which is really going to come back and bite him in the ass, in my opinion. So let's switch over to Chirp's point of view and have a look. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we can see that the Huskarls are now starting to come out for Chirp, and all Chirp has to do is just manage to protect himself, keep himself alive against these Cav archers, and it's not going to be too hard to do. As one Cav archer looks like he's having a bit of a fit as he runs through into the economy of Chirp, who's rapidly rushing up another town centre at the at the back of his base. But these Cav archers, obviously with no armor upgrades, no bloodlines, not really able to stand up to too much arrow fire from a town centre, regardless of the fact that he has no fletching. And this is what Memento needed to do just a little bit earlier. He needed to bring forward the siege workshop, and he really needed to start putting the pressure on Chirp's economy. But now that Chirp has had time, at least a little bit of time, to be able to boom up, for want of a better term, and start getting out some Huskarls, it's going to be really, really difficult for Memento now to start bringing this back. Although if those Huskarls keep bugging out, like they just did there, then it's going to be really hard for Chirp to be able to bring this back or take cost-efficient fights. But again, no bloodlines, no archer armor on these Cav arch mean that town center fire it's just not going to be a good time for him at all. And we're seeing a total of 6 Huskarls having been queued up inside the barracks down. Those Huskarls having been queued up down in the southernmost corner. And is Memento actually bringing anything out of this forward siege workshop, or was it there for show? No, he is actually bringing forward 2 forward siege workshops. Whoa, get aggressive. I mean, it's fair enough that you want to go aggressive, but it's a wee bit late, in my opinion, for the reasons that I've just mentioned as well. Now, what's Chirp going to do? Well, he's going to unleash the horde, by which I mean he's going to get 6 Huskarls out of those barracks, and it's going to be, why is there no link to YouTube below stream? Oh, okay, I'll fix that out after the game. But anyway, we can see now that the Cav archers inside of Chirp's base doing absolutely nothing, not adding any economy at all. Chainmail armor coming in for the +2 defense on these coming in for the +2 defense on these Huskarls, and now this is going to be an absolute massacre. There are a lot of weak, a lot of low HP villagers coming in here to try and start taking gold out to the western edge of Memento's base, and this is not what we want to see. He's going to have to do the same, if not more, damage to his opponent back at home. Unfortunately, it's not. Oh, I suppose he has taken down the barracks, so these Huskarls aren't really going to be able to come out of a barracks, but he still does have a castle, does Chirp, and he's still going to be able to bring those Huskarls over. And just look how much arrow fire these bastards can take. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And the Huskarls here still buzzing around inside of Memento's base. Feel like he should not be bringing them home just for the time being. He's going to be totally fine if he jumps inside a town centre, for example, and starts taking down these Cav archers, which I want to point out still do not have Bodkin arrow, still do not have bloodlines, and still do not have any sort of defensive upgrades. Another barracks having been thrown up, and Chirp is building another castle. Where is Chirp building this castle? Chirp, where are you building it, mate? You're building it inside your economy, and this just means, sure, I mean, Chirp can just let this part of his economy go. He is going to have safe wood, he is going to have safe gold, he's going to have safe stone, and he's going to be totally protected back in this portion of his economy. What kind of havoc, what kind of carnage are these what kind of carnage are these Huskarls doing inside of Memento's base? Well, the answer to that is Memento has no idea, because he hasn't recognized that these Huskarls are actually coming out and getting inside of his base. Getting out some knights is Memento to start trying to take down these Huskarls. Finally realizes that he is being raided quite heavily, and oh my goodness, still 75 villagers to 56. Chirp needs to either do more raiding or start keeping his TCs going just a little bit better. And oh, I guess it's almost a Boa TC. It's not quite up against the edge of the map, but that's totally fine anyway. So really, I mean, the Huskarls and stuff are doing a lot of damage, a lot of eco damage, but the villager lead is still quite heavily in favor of Memento here, which just tells me that Chirp's not really doing enough eco damage. He's not got a big enough eco himself. Although, in saying that, if we quickly switch over to his point of view, Yeah, he doesn't actually have that many resources to go on either. Obviously, the Goths still are pretty bloody cheap as he throws up a siege workshop outside or just on the edge of his map here, and this is going to be making it really difficult for Memento to be able to push through and do any other sorts of eco damage. He can't go underneath the town centre, he can't go underneath the castle, and he can't come loop around here and start taking any villages, any economy of Chirp from this area because of the other castle that is up in defense out there as well. I was much too tired that game. I feel like Dynamic Ninja could be Memento Mori. Unfortunately, I feel bad for bad-mouthing the fact that he has not gone ahead and researched any of those all-important Cavalry Archer upgrades at all. And now this is, again, a bit of a silly decision. Oh, you're Chirp. Oh, my mistake. Then I can keep bad-mouthing Memento. That's totally fine. But all these Cav Archers here from Memento have literally just done nothing. Pretty much his whole army that he had keeping any he's here. You can say what you want. They're all here, and I feel really bad. Pretty much all of the army that was doing any sort of idling of Chirps already weakened, already kind of small economy. He is just completely thrown away by by running them through the castles and the town centres of his opponent. Defensive castle being thrown up at Memento's base. Fair enough. He did need to try and lock down these resources the best he can. He's still got some Cav Archers, unupgraded Cav Archers back at home, but his eco is really starting to flourish, and he's starting to seed a lot of farms as well. I believe when we went over to his point of view just before, he had a crap ton of wood, and a crap ton of wood he still does have as well. The farms are a little bit scary, but at least he's starting to get up a lot of farms, maybe looking for that Imperial Age upgrade as well. Now over here, Chirp, building another town centre. This is good. This is what you need as a Goth player. What you need is you need a big economy. Sure, they're cheap, but they are hungry bastards. They are a very hungry civilization, and you need a lot of food eco. As I believe anyone who was watching the Noodle Box vs Rilo games for the Australian Open, Noodle's economy not quite strong enough to be able to sustain all the food that she needed to keep the village, her unit composition flowing. Now, what else can we see? Well, Chirp, again, throwing up an extra town centre out to the western flank of his base. A lot more farms being seeded for Memento, and this is what we like to see. He's starting to look like he's in a dominating position. Sure, the scores might say, oh no, he's a little bit behind, but, you know, economically speaking, 81 villages to 65, he's in a good spot. Military, he's in a pretty bad spot, and really that's where it's going to start coming down to as well. He needed to go aggressive, he needed to go really aggressive and start pushing forward and really putting the pressure on his opponent and not run his Cav Archers through 2 castles and 2 town centres. That is a really... her problem was with her eco. She just didn't have enough farms up to support the army composition once she started getting raided after she'd made the wrong decision in unit choices. Wheelbarrow only now just coming in for Chirp as well. Okay, well, I mean, I guess he's getting it, but it is very, very late. And oh, this is nice. They're all these villagers are starting to move over to this wolf to try and help this one lady take it down. No, I lied. They're actually all going to become gold mining villages. And instead of seeding a crap ton of farms such that he can get the food to get up to Imperial Age like his opponent, who has just clicked up as well, we can see that Chirp is not really focusing too much on that aspect of the game, and instead he's just mining a crap ton of gold. And yeah, not enough eco to support throwing away her army. Exactly. Yeah, so Chirp potentially not needing to go too much more out to gold. He needs to start seeding a lot more farms, and at the same time, as I say that, a lot of pikes and a handful of huskarls also being thrown into the economy here of Memento Mori as he finally gets bloodlines on the way to the Imperial Age. It's better late than never, but Jesus Christ, is it late or what? But anyway, the Imperial Age upgrade coming in now, but this is not what he really wanted to see in his economy. He did not want to see 8 Pierce Armor Huskarls. He did not want to see pikemen coming in to deal really efficiently and cost effectively with his knights. And this is where it starts to get really, really hard and difficult for Memento as well. Sure, he'll have the technology advantage. He'll have all the upgrades, or have the upgrade advantage over his opponent, but you can't throw away the fact that your opponent still has Huskarls. They are still the Goth player. They are still going to be able to overwhelm you with their incredibly cheap infantry. And here we go, a barracks being thrown up. That's fair enough. He needs something. Memento does. He needs something to be able to deal with this horde of Gothic infantry that is about to start flooding and storming into his base. Unfortunately, he can't actually get champions as the Huns. I think do they only stop at two-handed swords, or is it even only long swords? I can never remember for the Huns, but I know they definitely can't upgrade past man-at-arms, but man-at-arms, champions, etc. would be fantastic counters to all of these units here that are currently being thrown at him from his Gothic opponent, Chirp. And Chirp is doing the right thing, if nothing else. He's not throwing away units, but he's keeping his soon-to-be Imperial, there we go, he's keeping his Imperial Age upgrade enemy in his base, which is exactly what you want when you're an age behind. You want to try and keep your opponent focused on what's going on at his base, such that you don't have to worry about what is going on. Only Persians can't go past longsword. Very good. Fantastic, but here we go. Chirp also clicking up to the Imperial Age now as well. And is his ego looking any bigger? Well, he's seeded 2 extra farms from when I last checked in on him. And now, finally, Memento has at least found where all of these pesky infantry units are coming from. Unfortunately, a good chunk of his economy has now been idled and is looking a little bit messy. We haven't actually seen any upgrades coming in that gives us a hint as to what our Hunnic player here in the red is going to be teching into. And like I said, the late game for the Goths, doesn't matter what you tech into as the Huns, you are pretty much screwed, especially now that Chirp is getting into the Imperial Age and he's going to be able to get Halberdier, he's going to be able to get Perfusion and Conscription and all those fantastic, well, not fantastic if you're sitting in Memento's position, but if you're sitting in Chirp's position, he will be pretty happy. Looks like he's just going to be spamming the crap out of pikemen. Why not? They're bloody cheap, and if they get in the face of even villagers, once he upgrades them to Halberdier, if he gets in the face of the knights rather, if he gets in the face of the Cavarch, he's going to be in a good spot to be able to take them down really effectively. And now Chirp also bringing over a handful of Huskarls, 10 plus 2 attack having been done. So forging and iron casting completed on these bad boys, moving over with scale and chainmail armor as well, and Memento also actually switching into the Halberdier route. That's a very, very interesting decision. It's not necessarily the right decision, because it's not like the Goths aren't going to be able to outmatch you when it comes to, for example, champions, which are going to absolutely shred through Halberdier. If he wants to try and match you on Halberdier numbers, he can. He's the Goths, he doesn't even have to worry about it. They are cheap, and they come out just oh so quickly as well. And now we can see that there are some knights coming over to try and clear up these Huskarls that are buzzing around inside of his base. And yeah, fair enough, you can clean up those Huskarls, that's totally fine, because Chirp is just going to start sending these infantry units, or these other infantry units, in at you as well. Chirp advanced to the Imperial Age. Let's see what he is going to be going down. Let's see what he is going to be thrown down for us. I can imagine the Halberdier upgrade. There we go, it's kicking in straight away. We're also going to see another defensive castle thrown up inside the economy of the of Memento here, but again, that doesn't matter. Chirp can just switch right back into Huskarls, and he's still keeping the Huskarl production coming up as well. Huskarls, they are eventually going to get that huge amount of PS armor with the elite upgrade, and he is just going to be able to send the Huskarls straight into Memento's base. Castles, he does not care. Castles, by the way, which still do not have Bodkin arrow. Not that that would really make too much of a difference. Halberdier for the Goths against Halberdier, and Knights for the Huns. A couple of capped rams, or soon to be capped rams, now moving in for Chirp as well. And Chirp is in a fantastic position to start taking down all of these units and everything that that Memento once held dear and true to me. Again, he's leaving this castle partially built. Let's go over to his point of view and see what percentage that bad boy actually is, because if it's 57%, again, it's 54%. Goodness gracious me. He's very good at leaving it in the 50s from these half-built castles. But here we go. This is where it's pretty much all over for our red Hunnic player, Memento here. There is no way he's going to be able to match the infantry flood of the Goth player. The Halberdier is an admirable stand they're putting up here. The castle is going to be doing a fair amount of damage to the Helbs from the from Chirp here, but again, the Huskarls are just going to shrug off the arrow fire. They do not care. Fire arrows at them. Go ahead and just chuck arrows in their face. They are not going to care. They're going to laugh it off, and they're going to go ahead, start taking down your castles, continue to raid. A university being thrown up for Memento as well. Hand cannons. Yeah, hand cannons would be a great idea as well, except the Huns don't actually get a hand cannons at all. Maybe he wants ballistics so that he can hit other units better. I don't really know what the university is going up for. Chemistry, maybe a bit more firepower in his town centres and such. I can tell him right now that if he researches Bodkin Arrow from his yes, you are a mod. Yeah, you'll get a fancy description, of course you will. Bodkin Arrow would have been a really nice upgrade here, but again, the Huskars are just going to shrug it all off. Memento recognizing the situation, calling GG well played, like a true gentleman that he is. And indeed, it was very, very well played from Chirpas in this best of 5 series for Group 3 in the first round of the Australian Open. Chirp, very, very strong display of Age of Empires prowess there, and he takes the victory, takes that set of games 3-0, as is reflected in the scoreboard up above. So, well done, Chirp, and unfortunate for Memento. Hopefully he'll sit back on these sit back on these recordings, sit back on these games and learn a little bit from it. But again, well played to both players, an extremely exciting and enjoyable series of games to have casted, and I thank you very much for playing them.